What's up, guys? This is Bad Luck T, and I promised you while streaming to make a video just telling you everything that I think is wrong with Destiny 2. So I guess this is it. I'll mainly be focusing on PvP, but I have a short list for the PvE or the game in general as well. By the way, the footage in the background doesn't really relate to what I'm talking about. It's just random PvP play. So let's get started. Well, the main problem I think is that the meta is just way too heavy for Bungie to even handle at this point. By creating guns like Not Forgotten and Luna's Howl, they just put themselves in a corner and made people grind for it. A lot of people have wasted a lot of time grinding for that gun, so they cannot remove it. And if they nerf it too hard, they would have just, well, ruined all the time that those people spent on grinding for those guns. But what's happening because of those guns is that now they have to play catch up with the meta. They have to constantly be creating guns that can compete with those two guns. I think they were the guns that started this. Maybe, well, Graviton Lance was a pretty big offender in the beginning. Yeah, also the shotguns, they've just gotten way too much of a buff when it comes to range. Like Dust Rock Blues, they can kill you in like 15 meters in one shot. That's just way too long, in my opinion. And what's happening because of all of this is that the TK, or time to kill, is just growing shorter and shorter and shorter. And what we're ending up with is just another Call of Duty, where you have just a few seconds before you have to kill people. And what's also happening is, of course, that everybody's using the same guns. I mean, recently they have added more guns to this meta, so that people are using different guns, but the TTK is still just getting shorter and shorter, even though people are starting to use sidearms that have full auto and kill you in just fractions of a second. Yeah, moving on from the meta, let's talk about how Bungie promised us that they will be more frequent tweaks. They said that they changed their update model, that there will be more frequent updates which will allow them to more frequently tweak the gameplay. This has not happened. We rarely get updates, and when we do, it's for when it's some pointless content drop. Well, they have had some good content drop, but usually it's just these seasonal events that don't really offer you anything new or interesting. It's just another random roll gun that you have 50 other of. And yeah, let's talk about some other things that I think they should change, like the overly intense flinch that we got in the game. Of course, one of the biggest offenders here is Trust, the hand cannon with the explosive payload ammo. It's just, at least on console, this is all on console, by the way, that I'm talking about. On console, it's, well, it can be pretty bad. You can just be your screen just goes all over the place. So they need to either nerf that, the flinch itself, or they need to increase the resistance that you get from using resistance perks. Because as of right now, the resistance perks aren't really doing that much. You just barely have any effects on the flinch. It's barely noticeable. We're just talking about a couple of millimeters difference on screen. It doesn't really matter. It's still, in certain situations, it's just impossible to go up against. If two people with these kind of guns are going up against you, you have no chance of defeating them. You just have to run away. And then there's the impossibly bad spawning that we're still getting in this game. It's just insane how bad it is sometimes. You have a giant map and somehow they're spawning you where the enemy is spawning. You're going 6 against 6, and you alone spawn exactly on the other side of the map instead of spawning with your teammates. Where one of the enemy is, you're spawning with the other 5 enemies across the map. You're not going to survive that. You're just dead. You're spawned almost dead. I don't know, I can't even count how many times I have just spawned and died within a second. Less than a second from spawning I died. And that's just, you know, there's something wrong there. Maybe it's Activision, because the spawning used to be this bad in Call of Duty, and it's gotten worse since Destiny 2 came out. It was better in Destiny 1 actually. But what wasn't better in Destiny 1 was the matchmaking. Bungie have been making these games now for what, 6 years? And they still haven't been able to fix the matchmaking. What is up with that? I mean, I'm still matchmaking in, let's just say in competitive, where it's extremely noticeable, where I'm matchmaking up against people who got Luna's Howls, Non-Forgottens, and are probably in legendary rank. We even have to reset their ranks because they're getting like flawless victories. And I'm spawning with people who haven't even gotten to light level 50. Like, it's just, yeah, it's really bad, the matchmaking, and after all these years they really should have gotten a handle on it. It's just seriously stupid in my opinion, and it's one of the things that bothers me the most about this game, and always has. Yeah, so because of this bad spawning, the people who are getting most affected is of course the solo players. The solo players in this game are just getting crushed in Destiny 2. Not only in the PvP, but also in the PvE section. I'm talking about stuff that almost just requires you to be more people. And I know about the LFGs and all the sites and all the groups and everything that you have that you can find people in, but still, you should be able to play something alone in this game. And what you're able to play now is, well, competitive is very hard to do unless you're very good at the game. But it's mainly just quick play, strikes, and forges if you're lucky, because in a lot of forge situations you just spawn with people who are impossibly bad and they can't do anything, or they're AFK, which has been happening more and more recently. So it's getting harder and harder to play Destiny as a solo player, in my opinion. And another problem with the PvP is the distinct lack of a truly competitive mode, like we had with Trials of Osiris and Trials of the Nine. I get that it's very hard because of the meta to do that. Everybody would just be using the same guns, but Bungie put themselves in that situation, so they can't really blame anybody but themselves for that. So they need to fix that. They need another playlist that is more competitive, because the casual play is getting way too sweaty. Everybody is using these guns, the Luna's Howl, the Non-Forgotten, and all this very meta heavy weapons, and it's just getting stupid. You can't even go in there and try and learn a new weapon. You're just gonna get crushed. You're gonna have to go to your safety weapon just to play a casual playlist. That's so stupid in my opinion. So we need something like Trials back. There have been rumors recently that it might be coming back, but we'll see. Also, we used to have, because we used to have Trials, it was a more, varied PvP experience. Right now we just have Iron Banner, and it's just the same mode over and over and over again. I heard a rumor now that they're going to be adding another mode from D1 called Salvage, which is more of a 3v3 situation. But just having the one mode, it is so it gets so repetitive, and it's just pointless. You can finish everything within 1 week while not really grinding that hard. You can get all the armor and all the available weapons, which I have done every time. I always just finished it in 1 week, or not really that hard grinding, or even over a weekend of hard grinding. So we need more modes, like the Crimson Doubles coming up. That's cool, but it's there for a week over the entire year. So we need more modes that come in that are unique, not these supremacies and brawls that are just standard modes and should be available at all times in like a varied playlist. We need some unique modes that come just for a short amount of time, more than just Iron Banner. And change up the armor designs on Iron Banner, guys. Really, the armor on the Hunter has looked more or less exactly the same since Destiny 2 came out, with slight tweaks, slight differences in shaders and how the shaders affect the armor. It's just, I don't know. The hoods are basically all that's changed. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the game in general. And it relates to what I was just talking about, the content in the game. So far, most of what we have gotten of exotics have been Destiny 1 re-releases. It's just been old content that's slowly trickling down to us, and we already know from the designers that it takes about 3 to 4 weeks to put in an old weapon or old armor gear from Destiny 1 into Destiny 2. And it takes about 4 to 5 weeks to put in new stuff. I mean, really, come on. It's a 1 to 2 weeks difference. Just put in the effort and make some new stuff. You've got plenty of options, plenty of perks and stuff that isn't available on exotic gear. You can just bump up the usability on and make it more viable. And they have actually worked on this and almost fixed this, but the time gates in the missions, those are also really annoying. Like having to wait for the Queen's Court to get a piece of content. That's almost a 3-week wait for a piece of content. It's like having to wait for Sur in Destiny 1, just 3 times worse, 3 times longer. So, but unfortunately they have been working on that, and they have been removing the time gates. The Last Word, although it was a year 1 weapon, they did it excellently, the mission. That was awesome. It even had a unique what are it called? Unique feature in the end, where it was just yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it. I was trying to find a way how to say it without spoiling it, but it was unique and I really loved it. It was cool. And now let's talk about an overarching problem that's affecting all parts of this game. It seems to me that they have more and more been designing this game for the people who have an extreme amount of time on their hands, for the people who work within the Destiny universe somehow, like streamers or content creators for Destiny, the YouTubers, the Twitch streamers, or the people who just don't do much else than just play video games. And I don't think they should be designing the game around them. I get that you shouldn't design a game around the casuals, but find a decent middle where everybody can just enjoy and get stuff without having to spend every waking hour of free time in this game. Like for instance the Luna's Howl, the Redrix's Claymore, the Pinnacle weapons. Some of the Pinnacle weapons at least. They did it pretty well with the I don't remember the name. The fusion rifle for strikes and the breakneck, the auto rifle. So I don't know. They need to make some missions that are kind of shorter. They made one now that was for Savala. What was it? You have to turn in Savala missions or something. But the weapon was just it was just garbage. It was pointless. So they had the right idea, but they just put in a really bad weapon that was completely pointless because it was just a random roll weapon that you can get anywhere else with the same roll and the same fire rate and everything. So yeah, I don't think that really worked out, even though it was done right, but with the wrong weapon. And the same thing was for the Last Word. It was a good mission, but it was a year one weapon. It's cool to have, but we shouldn't have had to grind for that one. We should have gotten a new weapon and just gotten the Last Word thrown into the loot pool. So I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, this has been my rant, I guess, about everything that I think is wrong with Destiny 2 as it is. I understand that some of these things are very hard to change for Bungie because they are deeply woven into how the game works. But some of these should be easier to fix, or they should just think about some of these when they add new content in the future. And I hope they do, because now Bungie is free from Activision. This is their time to prove that they can do things right. Because we have been allowing, well, not allowing them to blame, but they have been allowing us to blame Activision for most of the shortcomings of the game. And now is the time to step up and show that they can do it differently, they can do it better. That they are listening to us, they're listening to their faithful players. Not just what the streamers are saying, because they can have sort of a twisted view on things. But also listen to the regular players, the community, the standard players. But yeah, this has been a rant for me. It's been way too long already. But I thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy your day, and let's hope Bungie steps up to the plate. See you later, guys, and have a good one.